who built the first city on Earth? Every city has a beginning. New York began as a small trading post. London grew from a Roman settlement. Tokyo was once a quiet fishing village. But if we keep traveling backward through history, past every capital, every kingdom, every empire, we eventually arrive at one fascinating question that almost nobody ever stops to ask. At what moment did human beings look around their tiny villages and decide, let's build the first city? Because for almost all of human history, cities simply didn't exist. For hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors lived in small groups. If you knew 30 or 40 people, that was your entire world. Everyone hunted together, gathered food together, and slept under the same sky. There were no crowded streets, no noisy marketplaces, no giant temples, and certainly no neighbors arguing over where to park a cart. Life was simple, but it was also incredibly limited. Then, something extraordinary happened. Around 6,000 years ago, in the fertile land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, an area we now call Mesopotamia, a settlement named Uruk began growing faster than anything humanity had ever seen. At first it looked like any other farming village. A few homes. A few fields. A few families. But unlike countless villages before it, Uruk never stopped growing. More families arrived. More crops were harvested. More houses appeared. Soon there were workshops, temples, markets, storage buildings, and thousands upon thousands of people all living in the same place. Without realizing it, humanity had crossed a line it would never cross back. The village had become a city. The strange part is that nobody actually planned this. There was never a meeting where someone stood up and announced, "Today, we're inventing cities." Instead, the city emerged because one invention quietly changed everything: agriculture. Once people learned to grow more food than they immediately needed, something remarkable became possible. Not everyone had to spend every day farming anymore. Some people became potters. Others shaped metal, carved stone, built houses, traded goods, or organized religious ceremonies. For the very first time, human society became a giant team in which everyone had a different job. Of course, once thousands of people began living together, new problems appeared just as quickly as new opportunities. Who owned the grain? Who settled arguments? How did merchants remember who owed what? The answers to those questions transformed history. To keep track of food, taxes, and trade, the people of Uruk developed one of the world's earliest writing systems. Ironically, humanity didn't invent writing to create great novels or record heroic adventures. We invented it because somebody had too much paperwork. As Uruk expanded, so did its influence. Roads connected distant communities. Goods traveled farther than ever before. Ideas spread from one generation to the next. The city became more than a collection of buildings. It became a machine for creating civilization itself. Laws, governments, architecture, organized religion, long-distance trade, and technological innovation all accelerated because people were suddenly living close enough to learn from one another every single day. So, who built the first city on Earth? It wasn't a famous king whose name filled history books. It wasn't a mysterious genius with a brilliant master plan. And it certainly wasn't a single generation working on one enormous project. The first city was built slowly, patiently, by thousands of ordinary people who probably never realized they were changing the future. A farmer planting one more field. A builder laying one more wall. A merchant opening one more market stall. A child growing up in a place that looked just a little bigger than it had the year before. Together, without ever intending to, they created something humanity had never seen. And perhaps that's the most incredible part of the story. The greatest cities on Earth didn't begin with towering skyscrapers or magnificent palaces. They began with ordinary people solving ordinary problems, one small decision at a time. Because sometimes, history doesn't change with one brilliant idea. Sometimes, it changes when thousands of people unknowingly build the future together.